Hello, listeners. Guten Nacht and buenas noches, and welcome to Uber Cinco, the award-winning podcast where we deep dive top fives. I'm Nathan Hennenfent, your host, where our two contestants will reveal and defend their top five back-to-school items. That's right, fall is in the air. I just heard the morning bell ring, so sharpen those pencils and keep your eyes on your own test. Class is in session. Our two-star pupils battling it out today are, from Wrigleyville, USA, the excellence of execution, the Heartbreak Kid, the all-American badass, the Texas Rattlesnake, the Ayatollah of rock and rolla, Mrs. Foley's baby boy, Mitch Brinkman. What's going on,
Hello.
Mitch?
Holy God. I need you to write my introductions for when I go back home for Christmas. I don't see everyone's disappointed faces when I walk into my grandma's house. And they say things like, oh, we haven't seen you in years. How's Chicago? That gun-riddled battleground. But thank you for having me. I just want to say, first off, a thank you and a shout out to Mike's Liquors in downtown Ely, Minnesota on Sheridan Street. Go to Mike's. They have a great beer selection and wonderful koozies. So
That's a great tagline.
Especially
go to Mike's. Just simple, imperative sentence. Go to Mike's. Just do it.
And I love it because the koozie, their picture here, it's just two old stumble bums trying to empty an old wooden keg. So
the number one back to school item. Go get liquor.
Yeah.
All right, and that other voice you're hearing there, that is hailing from Berwyn, Illinois. That's the Brahma Bull, the great one, the people's champion, the WWE's first third-generation superstar, the most electrifying man in podcasting entertainment. Finally, Brian has come back to Uber Cinco. How you doing, Brian?
Wow.
It doesn't matter how you're doing.
I cannot live up to that introduction. Get ready for a disappointing episode, everybody.
All right. Anyways, Brian, but you are okay?
I'm fine. I'm hanging in there.
All right.
You are okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Okay. Yeah.
I'm still living. I am still living, kicking and screaming.
All right. Well, that should be good enough for the next hour or so. If this is your first time in the Uber Cinco den, let's wake you out of hibernation with a quick rundown of the rules.
Nathan, I just wanted to be clear. I am not okay, but that's fine. Let's keep going. So,
Each player in the den has spent time with today's topic, arranging their top 5 answers in order of importance. Those answers have been submitted to the host who will moderate the game, awarding points to the player with the most poignant answer.
starting with their number 5 choice, we will move up the ranks until we reach each of their top answers. But if both contestants happen to have the same answer on their list, well, we have an Uber Stare-Down.
You will hear the official Uber Cinco siren, and both players must reveal their answer and what number they ranked their submission. An Uber Stare-Down is all or nothing, with one player earning 3 points. After all answers have been read, the host will reveal the final score.
And as a host, I am entitled to institute a house rule. Today's rules, since it's school, is that we have to start the morning by all standing and chanting in unison to an inanimate piece of cloth. Contestants may only go outside for fresh air for 2 predetermined 15-minute periods throughout the day, and you must ask nicely to be excused from the classroom to take care of necessarily bodily functions, and even then, it's not a guarantee. All right. As a reminder, don't forget to stick with us till the end of the show, where I, Nathan Hennenfent, will give you my Fast 5 send-off, where I'll rattle off the definitive list of the top 5 unmade sequels as summarized by Variety magazine.
I love that. Oh my God. And because this is just straight hot goss, and I love straight hot goss, so
It's you'll see there was definitely reasons none of them were made. All right. Let's start class. Let's start educating ourselves. Let's prepare for the school year. I would like Brian Ernst to start with his number 5.
All right. I will apologize. I am pretty sure there is a Mexican Independence Day parade going down my street at this moment. So for you listening to the horns, throw your horns in and celebrate Mexican Independence Day with them. All right, here we go. So my number 5 I have is the 1 week's worth of new clothes that are never the same after the first wear. So These are the clothes that your mom took you to the outlet mall to get midsummer. You got fresh kicks from the Nike outlet store because that's the only place you can find shoes to fit your feet. You also got them a little half size too big just because you're confident you're gonna have another growth spurt. It's gonna hit pretty soon. And then this is where you get your first pair of faded jeans that kind of give you an edge before you head back to school.
Oh my God.
And not only do you have a few clean picture day ready pairings, but also that new generic jersey that she let you get off the clearance rack after begging for an hour. And then these clothes are either left in their packaging or hung up in a special place in the closet where you can check on them every day leading up to the first day of school. Yep, they're still there. Okay, good. Now, then you wear those clothes on the first week of school and their allure immediately wears off. They are no longer cool after all of that hype you've built up for the summer and you've worn them, everyone's seen them. They're not new. Now they're just you. And the magic is gone. And school becomes real once again.
Yeah, that's so depressing. They're not new. Now they're just you.
Yes.
So unbelievably accurate about everything I've ever purchased in life. That's wow.
Brian, is this that one blue faded football jersey you used to wear or maybe still have?
That is one of them. That would have been probably a little bit older. That was actually a Florida Gators jersey with a number 1 on it.
Oh, it was. Okay.
That I got from Stephen Barry's before they closed. That was where everything in the store was $8 or less.
That's I mean, and obviously everything there was made in the U.S. by people making above minimum wage, I'm guessing. Right?
Of course. I remember I had Big Ben Wallace shoes from Stephen Barry's. I remember
BBWs.
Nobody in high school knew what college I was going to because of all the different college sweatshirts I wore from Stephen Barry's. Because I had like a Michigan State one, I had an Oklahoma one, I had Florida. Like nobody knew what the hell was going on. And like, why the hell are you wearing that? I'm like, green looks good. Michigan State, this is fine. I'm just gonna wear green this week. And
it wasn't because Michigan State has a great Martin Scorsese film program.
What?
No, I'm joking. I'm like you're not a sports guy. That's what I'm trying to.
I did not follow along with it. I told you guys I was not going to live up to my introduction, and here is the proof. That's just.
That's sort of how I feel about the clothes I would get when I would go back to school. Is I would be so excited. Nobody had seen me in all of these clothes yet.
Yeah.
And then you wear them once, and then they go through the wash and they don't fit the way that they did, or you're growing so fast they only fit you for like 5 minutes of your life.
Or you stain them in the first lunch period of your back to school days, and you're like, God damn it. And then you just don't tell your mom about it, and you just throw them in the bottom of the hamper and hope it goes away with an air wash. You know it won't. But that's...
My back to school shopping was you'd go down to, it was called Henderson's Uniform Shop in downtown St. Paul, and they had the monopoly on parochial schools in the Twin Cities area. And I'd go down and I'd get husky-sized navy blue shorts and pants, husky-sized white polo shirts, enough to blouse after you tuck it in, then you blouse it out,
Oh, for sure.
So it doesn't look like your shirt's tucked in, but it still is, clearly.
Yeah, because you have to do that.
Yeah.
Or the new pair of socks you haven't opened yet, that's always fresh pair of socks every day to start a school day is the easiest, because in just 2 weeks, you will be scrounging around on your hands and knees in your bedroom looking for another sock just so you can get out the door on time. So
I started that tradition when I was about 11 years old, and it continues up until this morning. No day of my life has not involved a sock scrounge.
That's great, because God, I hate that. I hate that so much. Not having clothes when you need them on a deadline. That's the worst.
What a horrible thing about being an adolescent and teenager is this pressure to look good for people who have seen you every day for your entire life, and you still are like, oh God, I must know.
Please.
My finest pearls, where are they? I can't believe how much time I put into thinking about. I put more time into my appearance when I was 15 than I have as an adult.
Oh, of course. Now I will go out. I don't get the fact that I put on pants is a miracle for the public now. I do not care how I look. There have been times where, like, before I used to be like, I can't leave the house without a hat because my hair's not done. Now I will show up looking like a complete ragamuffin. I don't give a shit anymore. So
yeah, we know. We know.
I was looking through my, some people I know were talking about like their investments and their portfolio and stuff. And it made me reflect on mine. And I realized a lot of my net worth is tied up in my novelty t-shirts. So yes. I stopped caring a long time ago.
I remember I used to beg my dad to take me to a Gadzooks in North Riverside Mall. That was before Hot Topic. They were the only place in 1998 that sold South Park t-shirts.
Oh, God.
And I wanted that South Park t-shirt. It's just the 4 boys standing at the bus stop. I wanted that so bad. And this was like 1997, 98. That would have been 3rd grade. He's like, I'll get it for you, but you can't wear it to school. I was like, that's fine. We're still going to Gadzooks.
Gadzooks.
My favorite thing about, because I went to, I wore uniform K through 6 and then again 9 through 12. But every picture day, you could wear a non-uniform in my school. So on picture day, though, I never looked like I any other day of the entire year. I had I'd always get a new hairdo. Like I remember 4th grade, I had a flat top, and I never wore a flat top for any other day for the rest of my life. And I wore like a denim button-up. But I had sweatpants on, remember that? Never wore the denim shirt ever again. And then in junior high, when I finally had to start putting outfits together, mainly it was, because that was when I was, what is that? Junior high, you're 7th grade, so you're like 13-ish. This is like 1998, 99. The Minnesota Vikings, Randy Moss, they're at the peak of their powers. I wore my Randy Moss jersey as much as I could. I didn't care if I got sweaty in gym class. I was just like, go to math, half wet from basketball. But I remember for picture day, I went to American Eagle with my mom, and she got me a chunky knit turtleneck, like dark forest green sweater. And it was just like, it made my fat cheeks, because junior high is the worst for everyone, right? And it was like your body's lumpy and weird. There's no muscle there.
Yep.
And then I got the LA Knights gel hardness level stone, and just made that fucking ski jump right up in front. I looked like such a fucking little asshole, and I never looked like any other day of the year. And I just wanted to tell my mom, why did you let me do this? Just say I look stupid and shame me. It'll help. Don't say I look nice. Just tell me I look like a little idiot and tell me to go change.
Shame me, mother. Shame me. Oh, man.
Well, Mitch, give us another chance to shame you now by revealing your number 5.
Sure. Yes, of course. So my number 5 on my top 5 list of the best back to school items this is kind of like a combo, but in general, it's notebooks. Notebooks are great. I used to love it was the Mead brand. This is when I leveled up. I felt very important. I felt cool. I felt like perhaps a writer maybe. But college ruled notebooks. Do you guys remember when you finally gave up the wide rule and you went to college rule and you had to start writing like an adult? That felt great to me. But me didn't have as many adorned or themed notebooks. So I still loved, and I looked it up and the feelings came rushing back, both good and bad. Starline brand sports wide ruled notebooks and folders. I had the Emmett Smith one, if you remember that. We got an Uber.
Yep, we crossed over into Uber stare down territory. Pretty broad topic, the notebook folder family. But Brian, read yours. I think you'll see that we have an intersection here.
My number 2, I believe you are referring to, is the themed binder or trapper keeper. That's what I have on my list here at number 2.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, so mine, I just want to give a shout out to Starline. They made some dope folders. The action shots they got of Emmett Smith and Grant Hill and Shaquille O'Neal on those puppies, holy crap. Those were inspiring. I was sad that I could never have a Minnesota sports figure on one of my folders. They just never made them. Maybe because we never won anything. That could absolutely be a thing.
That would definitely be why.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, good point. And so it always felt kind of wrong. So I'm like, I don't actually like the Cowboys, but I wanted some kind of sports on my thing, like as if someone wouldn't know from all that I talked about with sports, or all I did was, loved gym. They'd like see the folder and they'd be like, oh, he likes sports, But if you didn't get to Target early enough in the back to school shopping season, everyone out there knows what I'm talking about. Shout out to Target, Twin Cities company, for real, the best department store there is. If you didn't get there early enough in the shopping season, you couldn't get matching folders and notebooks, because the very best would be to have a Grant Hill Detroit Pistons notebook. He's flying to the hoop. It's big. It's bold in the background. Grant Hill. It's back when the Pistons rocked that like teal and dark red and yellow. And then the notebook to match, which was always awesome. And again, every time you took these things out, let's say, it's time to do social studies. I know social studies, that's Emmett Smith. So I'd take that out, and you always know what subject you were on. But I remember one day my brother played a horrible prank on me, and in hindsight, it was an amazing prank. It was very funny, but he was really good at drawing little fart clouds on people, like in the newspaper and on his brother's notebooks and folders. And so he made Emmett Smith farting as he ran, which made me so angry because he was disgracing the NFL all-time rushing leader. So
that's traumatic.
It is.
I remember, this is bringing up so many memories, and I'm remembering I would get jealous of people's folders. I would get jealous of folders.
Absolutely.
And I think there is also this collective idea within the group of kids I grew up with that say, if you had a Ken Griffey Jr. folder.
Ken Griffey Jr. I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh,
that meant you were as good at baseball as Ken Griffey Jr. That's how it works. If you have the folder, you're going to hit 400 career home runs.
Yep.
And oh God. Oh, and horrible.
Kids, you have the Griffey folder. You wear your hat backwards, a la Brian right now. You have that smooth, silky swing. You've got the swag. You've got the confidence. It meant a lot in those days. It meant a lot. And also, I have to say, the one that hurt me the most as a kid to have was Troy Aikman, because again, you don't get a lot of choice. You just, like, if you get there late, which sometimes the Brinkmans, we didn't get on the back to school shopping very quickly. So I had an Aikman folder, and then to go along with that, I think it was like 10 or 11, my Aunt Jane got me a Troy Aikman jersey for Christmas that was like double XL because it was on sale, even though she knew I hated the Cowboys. And so like that was like a double, just like digging my own grave with that. So
you didn't pull off a trade, Aikman, for you might have been able to get a couple second rounders in there. I don't know.
Famously, Aikman, what did he force his way to the Cowboys or something? He was kind of a petulant player, and much like my folder, I couldn't move him. So, but
fair enough.
So,
fair enough. Well, Brian, what are your thoughts? What are your memories of your theme binders and Trapper Keepers and their importance to the school year?
I feel like Trapper Keeper was probably before my time. And then this was more about themed binders. And this was the option. You could either have it themed or you could have it big and thick. There was no middle option. So I remember I got a Harry Potter.
In my experience, the big and
Shut up. No. It's going to be innocent third grade.
I was saying, Brian, you don't have to use the word themed. You could say it's got personality. It's got...
oh, that's what set him off.
It's got a lot of money.
Curved, yes,
there's a lot of money in the binder.
Yes, yeah.
So in third grade, I had a Harry Potter binder.
The binder knows how to listen. The binder knows how to cook. The binder calls his mother on a regular basis.
God damn it. My third grade Harry Potter binder.
We don't all have feet so large, it's tough to find shoes not at outlet malls, Brian. I'm sorry, okay?
My struggle is real. So this binder that I had said, "He who must not be named" over the cross in front of it. But this thing could barely hold 3 sheets of paper. And I think it's due to cover the licensing fees needed to build said binder that they can only make it that thick. Or it was either they had that, or I was a 5-star brand. I always wanted 5-star notebooks. My mom would never get them for me because they were too expensive. But then there was the 5-star, and that would be like a 2-inch ring on the binder, and you could put tabs in for each subject. And then you get the 5-star Mead folders that were already 3-hole punched. So not only did you have a binder, you had folders in said binder. And then this thing was crisp and clean, and you had the color-coded tabs. Sometimes I would even rip out during my office supply loving phase, I would take out these little tabs.
A phase that we all went through at age 13.
It's so great. It's so great. Like just walking up and down the aisles of Office Depot. It's just brings back such joy to me.
But also the things you get at Office Depot are much higher quality than the crap they serve at Target. So
it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Then you'd write your little subject name into the little white tab, and you'd be able to slide it back in, so then you could flip through it like that. And then every binder has the front pocket and the back pocket right inside. And that thing it had no give. It was meant for a single sheet of paper, and that's all you could put into it. And it was crisp and clean at the beginning of the year. And then those rubbery plastic things, they had no give, but then they were completely stretched out by the end of the year. They had the outline of a single pen or pencil that was stuffed in there. You'd have loose leaf, or when you'd ripped out loose leaf from your notebook, you'd have all the pilly little edges, and those would somehow just end up stuffed in those pockets. And this thing was completely unusable for a second year. You had destroyed it. Go ahead.
What you've described is what my binder looked like at the second week of school. My mom would buy me a new binder every year, and it was with the best of intentions. I would look at that thing and see like how organized it was supposed to be, and I understood the theoretical applications of it, and I was like, oh boy, if I make it to Thursday with everything still being in the correct subject folders, that'll be a win for my mom.
Were you the kid that just had loose papers in your backpack that you would just rip out and hand in if you needed to? You would never use the folders?
Pretty much, yeah. That was me.
You were that kid. Oh boy.
Hey, straight A student. A student.
Hey, it's all that matters in the end. Who really cares?
You see young Nathan in the back corner just like twirling a pencil and staring off into the corner, and they're like, Nathan, did you even do your work? And he just, pulls out a single piece of paper that's like creased and like, check it out. You know, you're like, it's like young David Blaine, or something like that. But now, okay, this is a question about your binders, though. Was it the binder where it was a circular clip on the inside, or was it the one that had like a straight up and down part, and then the other part was kind of U-shaped? Because the circular binder clip on the inside, those never worked, and those broke immediately. The best one was where it like one was almost straight up and down, and the other one kind of curved into it.
Yes, I know what you're talking about, and those are the ones I preferred.
Yes.
Definitely, a little straight edge and then into the curve,
Yeah.
but still had the 2 push tabs at the top and the bottom so you could open it and get everything in nice and organized.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
That's satisfying.
Thank God we've reached a consensus on this. Oh, boy. All right. On that note, I'm scoring this round.
Right.
Binders, and oh, boy, that's a close one. That is a close one, but
can I just make one last lob here? I would have loved to have gotten one Michael Jordan or Scottie Pippen folder notebook combo. Could not find them. That's probably because everyone just loved that team so much, and they were the best ever and continue to be the best ever.
Well,
no matter what LeBron does during these playoffs, Michael Jordan is number one. So
as you know,
yeah, huh?
I definitely did have every Michael Jordan folder and binder and whatnot, and out of sympathy for you never having it and bringing back those fond memories of me having all of those wonderful folders, Mitch gets 3 points.
Oh!
I just want to go on record and just say that that's fucking bullshit, and that's all I want to say.
But Brian, for your number 5, you're also getting 3 points. Yes. Because I can't tell you how vivid the memories are me going to the excitement of wearing my new Led Zeppelin t-shirt when I was a freshman in high school, and then it shrinking and me growing 5 inches in the next week, and then it being pretty much unwearable So you hit the nail on the head there. So it's 3 points for your round 5. Mitch wins the Uber stare down. And then we're going to go up to number 4. Brian, back to you.
All right. I just want to say that last score you gave is not fucking bullshit, and it's much appreciated. All right, so number 4. Mitch touched upon this a little bit. This is the 5th grade gel spiked haircut. So very specific. For me, the year is 2000. 10-year-old Brian is about to enter his last year of intermediate school, and his most recent trip to haircuttery had him ask for the top being long enough to spike, please. And not just the front tips. We're spiking the whole flippin' head. Again, I beg my mom for the fancy gel that the stylist tries to upsell us, but instead we go across the parking lot to Target right after to buy the big bottle of Suave for Men. This is a big deal in 10-year-old Brian's life. Then it comes the morning of you're going to do your hair for the first day of school. You lather up your hands, saturate your hair with product front to back, and then you do the one swoop to get the spikes. But you still got some gel on your hands, enough to accent a few of the pointier, more poignant spikes. And then you emphasize those and then have to rinse your hands and get that nasty shit off of your actual skin. And then when you put it under the water and it rehydrates after it's been hitting the air for a little bit and it just slimes up and you got to get that off. But you don't care because you look cool as shit. And then your first gym class rolls around and you realize that this shit sweats off, leaving you feeling like a crusty grocery bag after a pouring rain. You learn to keep a small bottle in your backpack for touch-ups, and all is fine from there on out. So, number 4, the 5th grade spiked haircut.
I definitely went through the spiked gel. I didn't do the whole head. I did the front, the ski jump type thing.
See, I never did ski jump. I always went whole head.
I was convinced at age 13 that having the perfectly gelled little ski jump thing was a girl was gonna touch my dick if I had that. This is the key. It's got to be the key. That's why everybody's doing it, right?
Yep.
I can't believe how far. I mean, for anybody who's listening has never seen a picture of me, my hair is well past my shoulders, and that's how I've worn it for most of my adult life.
Nipple length is what we usually say.
I've grown out. I grew out of the gel phase pretty quickly, but yeah, why did we do that? Why did we all think it was a good idea?
It was a 3-4 year phase. For me, it was quite a long time. So
I think it stems from boy bands. Right?
Probably.
Like, they started.
This is the NSYNC Backstreet Boys band era, so it's like
that was the era. Boy, it felt like you could break off my hair.
Correct.
Just snap it like a pretzel. Just
Yep. I have wonderfully distinct memories of my friend Brendan O'Hara in junior high, and he was a super nice kid, very popular, but a nice popular guy. You know, he was smart. He worked hard. Wasn't mean to people. And he always had, his hair was always on point. Always just the same ski jump every single day. It's like he had an Olympic grounds crew every morning, just, put it into place. But you always knew like when he needed a haircut because his hair because the jump would start to droop. It would droop. And then the next day you'd come in, fucking fresh cut, bam, back to a hard ski jump.
Perhaps that's it. It's an erect versus flaccid symbol that we were trying to project.
Yes.
Look at me. I'm a teenage boy. I'm hard all the time.
I have energy. Promise.
The saddest part about all this is that I felt like I had to do that because that's what everybody else was doing. Like, well, Nathan, whatever you do, don't be yourself. Just don't be yourself. Then you'll be popular. Just don't be yourself.
Yep.
Oh, that is
the message that is given to everyone, boy, girl, whatever. Just don't be yourself, and school will be okay.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh boy. I mean, Brian, you're knocking these out of the park, but you're breaking my heart. But Mitch, I gotta hear your number 4. We gotta see if you can counter that.
Sure. Yeah. My number 4 are the Sakura brand Jelly Roll pens. Okay.
office supplies.
We have another stare down. But so the difference here, though, is Mitch has gone with a very specific brand of jelly roll pens.
Yeah.
Brian, please read out what is your number one choice.
Number one?
This is my number one choice. My number
Holy
one
cow.
choice is a dizzying writing utensil variety. That's what I have on my list.
So what we've got here is we've got Mitch and his Sakura brand jelly roll pens versus Brian taking the field. So Mitch, you have your work cut out for you. Let's hear it.
Well, Brian, I just want to apologize, I guess, in advance for negating your ability to have any sort of comeback, because since your number one is going to be gone and I'm going to have all the points. So,
Wow.
Yeah. So the reason why the Sakura brand jelly roll pen was so important to have, at least at IHM St. Luke's school and or Ramsey Junior High in St. Paul, Minnesota, was because these pens were ice cream smooth. They wrote beautifully. They were a treasure and a treat to put pen to paper with these. There was the Stardust version, which is like a glittery jelly roll pen. There was the classic, which is like your medium to fine. Metallic, which looked like a reflective metal on paper, perhaps telling one of your best friends or a cute boy or girl, you're my gold medal winner or something like that, And then there's the Moonlight one, which was opaque or luminous, some more fun effects you could do. Maybe you're drawing some adornments on the edges of the note, perhaps.
So which one are you using to write a love note to your sweetheart across the hall?
I mean, for me personally, I'm gonna go with a classic medium. It's gonna be bold, much like the words on the note. I'm gonna tell her how I think. I'm gonna tell her what I think of how good we could be together, and then I'm gonna go with the Stardust on the outside, and I'm gonna create some beautiful little stars. I'm gonna try and show her what could be. Oh wait, God, sorry guys, hold on. Sorry, no, this is all just a fantasy for me, because I never got any notes in junior high. I only had to watch people get notes, and this is why the jelly roll pen is a form of oppression. It's oppression is what it is. I had to sit in junior high and watch Nick Smith pull out his pockets, empty his pockets, 8 notes on the desk. He didn't have to listen to the teacher. His braces looked stupid, and yet he got so many notes from people. He had the same ski jump hair I did. Oh, but he had an Abercrombie and Fitch sweater. Good for him. Why did he get notes? Why did all the girls like him? He was shorter than me. Yeah, he was thinner. I don't know if that was the thing, but my God, what the...
All right. Oh,
the one time I got a note, it was a question to ask someone else. It wasn't even a note to me.
Oh, I got that note.
Yeah, we all got that note.
I've had the unintentional intermediary note when I was in 7th grade.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I definitely negotiated a few junior high romances, but I never could have one of my own. Yeah. So I feel your pain.
So, hey, in a perfect world, maybe, I would have received a note and then sent one back using the Moonlight and the classic to draw a beautiful little slice of pepperoni pizza and ask, Chelsea out for a date for a slice, to Nick and Willie's Pizza. Maybe I would have done that if I had had the chance or the confidence. But, that I didn't, though. I didn't actually own any jelly rolls either.
Nick and Willie's, go for a slice at Nick and Willie's Pizza.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in a 1940s comic strip? Was that a real place? Please tell me it was.
It was a real place. It was down on Grand Avenue, just a short block and a half walk from IHM St. Luke's School. I would have. It was the place you would go on a date, and you'd get a slice of pizza on a Friday, and I never got to go on one. And I would have loved to. It would have been great. I never owned my own jelly roll pens because I knew if I got them, someone would notice and say, "Why do you have jelly roll pens? You're not writing any notes. You're not getting any notes." So, yeah.
The Jelly Roll pens. This has been boiling under your skin for decades now. I never could have a Jelly Roll pen.
Nick Smith, the #1 popular boy at Ramsey Junior High. He was short. He had braces. He had a whole collection of Jelly Roll pens. He wrote a bunch of notes. But the weirdest thing, he got a bunch of lip gloss, flavored lip gloss as gifts from girls, and he would eat it during social studies class. And I still envied this kid. Well, what was wrong with me?
I did hear a rumor about him that traveled all the way down to Roseville, Illinois, which was that his binder was of the big and thick variety. So
I actually have a big surprise. On our phone line here is Nick Smith. Nick, hi.
And he's here tonight.
Hey, Nick, what's up? Hey, man, I love you so much. You're so cool.
I still want to be friends.
You're so good at soccer. And actually, Nick Smith and I were on the same 3rd grade soccer team together, but we didn't see each other again until junior high. And I don't know if you ever actually knew my name or not in junior high, but we were soccer buddies on the field. Our coach, to train 3rd graders how to play soccer, just said, just try and pass it to your buddy. Just try and do that. He was my buddy. He scored all the goals. I just gave him the ball and knocked kids over. So,
but #1 in assists.
Thank you. Yeah. So perhaps I was always meant to be the Robin to his very odd Batman, but you know.
Wow, we have uncovered a lot here. Brian,
sorry.
Brian, no, this is, I just, Brian and I are going to have to come over and make you a nice dinner and take your mind off things.
I would love a tomahawk steak.
I was going to say, we'll bring over a nice tomahawk.
Yeah.
Fire it up. Get you all back and better.
Brian, give us a little taste of your dizzying array of utensils that you're using to write.
So Jelly Rolls was going to make my list, but the reason I didn't put it on my list is because of the toxic masculinity in junior high. Boys never owned Jelly Rolls. Girls had the Jelly Rolls, and you borrowed them because you really, really wanted to use them, but you would never buy them yourself or ask for them because you knew the girls would have them. And you'd be caught dead with a whole variety of Stardust Jelly Rolls in your bag. So to make yourself seem cool, you always ask to borrow a Jelly Roll because you're going to talk to a girl. That's why I didn't make it on my list. But in my dizzying array of writing utensils, I have gel pens, highlighters, felt marker tip pens. You need the black, red, blue, and green ones. Mechanical pencils, real pencils, the ballpoint pens that my mom gave me when she was a drug rep. So I walked into 5th grade with Prozac and Axid pens. In my younger days, I also would have had a Crayola 8.
That's not depressing at all.
My mom was a drug rep, so I walked in with
my Prozac pens.
Wow.
And they kind of blended in because they were they were yellow pens with blue tips, but they were just like a normal Bic click pen. That's all they really were. All I remember is they were so cheap and disposable because my mom had hundreds of them because she was supposed to be going around doctor's office pushing this stuff. That job didn't last long. She hated it. But those pens were so disposable that we could make things out of them. So you could take them apart, put the rubber band back in and flick it on your finger and turn it into a missile or hit it on somebody's back or hide messages in it and pass them around. So I was the kid at school passing around Prozac pens. Luckily, never got a call home. In my younger days, I would have had the Crayola 8-pack of markers, but the 48 count of crayons with the sharpener in the back. And that's how you knew you were cool.
Yeah.
And then on top of all of this, just in case you lost any of the above, the backup 50-pack of Bic black pens with the removable cap. Just in case, because those you need to chew on, you need to tap on the desk with them, keep a handful in your backpack just in case you forgot a pen. You always got to have those Bics. So my #1, the dizzying array of writing utensils to get you through school.
What was the name of the kid that never had a writing utensil in your class?
Kyle.
It was Kyle for me too.
Mine was Drake. Oh,
jeez.
Always Kyle.
So this kid, he was only in school with us for like up through 2nd grade, but the thing about this kid was he smelled like shit. And I'm not saying he smelled bad.
Did he grow up on a farm?
I don't know what the I don't know where the fuck this kid came from, but when I say he smelled like shit, I'm not saying he smelled bad. I'm saying he smelled like shit.
Yeah.
He just smelled like shit every single day. I was like, why does this guy smell like shit? Or poop, as I probably called it in those days.
Sure, but wipe. I don't know.
I was
maybe his parents didn't teach him how to like clean his rear end while taking a shower, or maybe he never showered.
I would guess the latter.
Yeah.
But,
good Lord.
So he just walked out of the cornfield one day and was just like, I'm here. Let's do school.
He was a stray.
He was a weird kid.
Okay, now were your Kyles, like my Drake, did they always have like kind of like a beat up Band-Aid on their finger?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Because Drake is the same way. Always had a little Band-Aid on his finger for whatever reason. Yeah.
And then my Kyle never bent his knees when he ran in gym class. So he ran like a stormtrooper. Like his knees wouldn't bend, but he was super fast. Like they kind of like Forrest Gumped. Like if he had like metal braces on him, like they wouldn't bend the right way, and he would just run with his fingers up like this, and it never made any sense. But
we're ruining next week's episode of top 5 Kyles we've encountered in our life. So I'm gonna have to move it along. I'm gonna have to score this Uber stare down, and oh boy, and Mitch, I mean, somebody's got a birthday coming up, and I know what I'll be getting you. You got a pack of Sakura brand Jelly Roll pens with your name on it.
I want Nick Smith's skull on my front stoop in a burlap sack, and I don't want you to wash off the blood. All right, thank you. Sorry.
Well, we'll take care of all of that, but for this round, Brian mentioning the subterfuge and the espionage you could pull off with the mechanical pens, the creating weapons and passing notes, that's going to win you the 3 points. So Brian, 3 points for this Uber stare down.
Woo! You're gonna have to be more specific, Mitch, too, for us in order to give you your birthday present. I just did a quick search. I have 6,000 Nick Smiths in the tri-state area, so we'll have to narrow that down.
Yeah, that'll be a big job.
Also, I have to score Brian's number 4.
Ooh,
which was the gel spiked haircut, which I mean, it was absolutely ubiquitous. So I got to give you a lot of credit here. Mm-hmm. But for bringing back the absolute tears of shame that I feel for having succumbed to this trend, I'm going to knock your 1 point down. So 2 points for your round 4.
Totally fair.
All right. But you may lead off number 3. Actually, no, Mitch, you're going to lead off round number 3, if you will, please.
Absolutely. So my number 3 on my top 5 back to school items is a genuine real leather junior size football. It's got to be Nike if you're going the college style route, or if you're going NFL style route, it's got to be Wilson. All right. It's got to be the genuine article. And when you bring this thing to school, you're going out to recess. If you're like me, your recess area was just a giant blacktop with nothing else. So you better have a great football or a better imagination. In our case, we had a great football, and it was great because it was like the game can't start till I get there. I bring the football. It was mine, so I got to bring it home, and I got to get used to it. I got to know how to throw it, and we played so much football. That is all we did. We didn't even have to exchange words. You'd just get out to the playground, you'd line up, you'd pick teams, boom, you'd go. You wouldn't have to debate anything, negotiate rules, none of that. We would just go for it. And of course, in those days, as I mentioned before, Minnesota Vikings players were emulating Randy Moss with one-handed deep end zone catches. We're emulating Chris Carter, tiptoes barely staying in on the sideline catches. We're emulating goofy Brad Johnson with his his elbow pads, throwing it with his like gawky elbow thing going on. We played so much football, and I applaud. I don't remember which girls it was. There were a couple girls that would come and play with us, and that was wonderful to us. I always some of my most cherished memories from middle school is what my friend John used to call sport sexing, which is just flirting while playing sports. I've got to get you, I've got to cover you real close. I've got to box you out in basketball, that kind of thing. And
we had a game this was, I don't know how we got away with it. By 7th grade, this was the greatest game ever invented.
Yeah.
We had a parachute. and everybody would sit holding the parachute like all the way around in a big circle. And then like I don't remember what the pretext was, but it was perfectly within the rules of the game. And in fact, the object of the game for you to go under the parachute and then grab people by the legs and pull them under the parachute as well. So it was just like, okay, so you want me to take cover and then to go grab these girls in their gym shorts by the legs and just violently pull them towards me. And I was like, well, I know that what I'm doing is wrong, but I guess I have to. So might as well have fun.
Wait, and the game was over when everyone was underneath a giant parachute? Like,
yeah, it was like last person outside the parachute was the winner, but in a much more real sense, the loser. So
what a strange game. I
think that was a game that where like some teacher came up with it, and then like maybe 5 minutes in, I realize I have made a horrible mistake because I only remember playing it once. But
wow. This is called catch him and bring him into the cult. All right, here's the parachute. Yeah. So like we played so much football. It was incredible, but it all came to a screeching halt one day when I can still remember who threw the pass. It was Steve Rupp. He was trying to hit my friend Ryan Fortune in the back of the end zone. He gunned it. It was way too high. It sailed. And the parking lot on one side was an alleyway. It goes into the alley. And the rule was if you went into the alley without notifying a teacher or asking them or flagging them down, then you would get in trouble. So we're yelling for a teacher. Miss O'Neill, Miss O'Neill, Miss O'Neill. She's talking, she's chatting with some students. She's not hearing us. And the milk truck, which just dropped off milk, is driving down the alley, and the ball is sitting there. And we cannot get into the alley without getting suspended. And we all stand there as we watch the truck drive over the football. And it makes the noise. And the whole time we're yelling like, stop, stop. And the milk truck driver just thinks we're waving to him. And he's just like, hey, drives over the football.
Oh, man.
And there went the game. Dead.
So before we move on, I have a quick football story. And I actually have a special eyewitness to bring on to tell this story. So we were playing football after hours once in one of the school football fields. And I got tackled by one of the other guys. And Kevin, can you please explain to me what you saw after I got hit?
What's up, fellas?
Hey, Kevin! What's up, man?
What's up?
What up? All right. This is in my top 5 favorite Brian Ernst stories of all time to tell all the stuff. All right. So we're playing like after hours, backlot football. Not even football. It was called like Spear the Bleep. Okay. Yeah. And back then, like that was a normal game to play. Whoever had the ball, you just hit them. There wasn't really football rules per se. Okay. So let me set this up. It's football weather. It's probably late September, early October, twilight, the brisk air. Okay. We're playing. I believe it's like a tie close game. And me and Brian are on the same team. Brian gets the ball and he takes off down the sideline. I'm talking like 2 inches from out of bounds. He's cruising down the sideline. I'm right behind him, like cheering him on. Let's go. We're going to score. All right. And then all of a sudden, out of the corner of my left eye, here comes this freight train named Andy Pagan. Just completely levels Brian. And I keep my eyes on him. 1 second he's there. Next second he's just gone. And I see this like object flying through the air, like perfectly through the air, and it's Brian's glasses just cruising through the air.
Oh.
And like part of me wanted to just be like, oh my God, this was awesome. Part of me wanted to start CPR right away on Brian, but it was just legendary. Like from my point of view, I was like a foot behind him when it happened, cheering him on, just in the air, we're about to score, and then just completely flattened.
Oh.
It was great.
It was great. Wow. Was Brian concussed?
He was all right. Just I think he asked for a sub. after that play. It was like one of those like, oh, I'm good. I just need a sub. But then like a minute later, we look, he's just walking down the street. Like, I'm out of here.
Wow.
I was pretty done after that.
This is amazing, though. This is a historic moment, though. I think this is the first time there's been a successful call-in on a pre-recorded show. I don't know how we pulled this off. We're in some sort of time-bending vortex. I'm loving it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
As soon as I heard you guys talking about football, I knew I had to bring in my eyewitness. So we can let Kevin get back on with his day. Thank you, Kevin Pope.
Nice,
Yeah,
Kevin.
sounds good.
Yeah,
you,
thanks,
sir.
Kevin.
Enjoy. See you guys.
Later.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
I have my own playground football story real quick. And you guys may already know this fact about me, but my 2 front teeth are fake due to a playground football accident when I was in junior high.
Oh, boy.
Aren't your eyeballs fake too, due to a dancing accident in college or something?
That's a story for another episode.
Oh, it is.
but-
Okay, sorry. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, it was, there's not much to it, but yeah, it was just, somebody decided that they were going to just give me a little bit of a stiff arm as a block, when I was, not wearing a helmet, and then boom, right into the teeth. So I've had my 2 front teeth have been fake since, about, the year 2000.
Oh, my God.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
It sounds like the year 2000 had a lot of turbulence in it, based on what we've heard so far today on the
Turn of
podcast.
the century, planets were aligned. Everything just went just crazy for us that time.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, we got to hear your number 3. Let's hear it, buddy.
All right, my number 3 is the biggest, baddest backpack. So backpack shopping was the frickin' peak of back to school items for me. And I always wanted a bigger one than the year before. None were ever big enough, especially as you got older. The books get thicker, as do the notebooks, as you graduate from a single subject to a 5 subject, but you get a 5 subject for every class because heaven forbid you run out of paper. Plus,
Can I just say, I'm sorry, but like the subjects that I took though had like a personality, and again, we're great listeners, and they weren't all giant and thick. So I just want to, not all of us took the same courses. I just want to make that
fine.
clear.
All right.
Sorry,
my courses were thick. Then you also had that giant ream of loose leaf paper that you just were told to have. And this is where I kind of wrote my details of college ruled versus wide ruled. I had one of each, depending on how much I felt like writing for a particular class. So if I really didn't like the subject, I would write it on wide ruled, and then I would turn it in, and the teacher would yell at me for not having college ruled, and she wouldn't want me to just spend time working on something else because she wouldn't want to grade it again later. So I would just totally play dumb and get away with it. And then you needed a pocket for the multiple different binders that you had, a water bottle pocket, an extra pair of gym clothes, and then a bunch of loose change that you will never end up spending in your life just shows up in this bag throughout the year. And this thing weighs 40 pounds at least with all of your new school supplies, just like you were heading into like uncharted academic battlegrounds. And the one brand of backpack I always wanted but never got was a Swiss brand backpack. I never got it with the logo on it. It was just always the fancy looking one at Office Max. They always looked bigger. They were sleek and black and had the nice red pop logo.
I'm sorry. I hate to tell this to both of you, but for 7th through 9th grade, I had a Swiss brand backpack filled to the brim with Secura brand Jelly Roll pens. That was all I had.
God, we're going to have to kill Nathan.
You are my new Nick Smith. I will destroy you.
Hey, I mean, I'm sorry. My parents loved me. I can't help that.
Woo! Gauntlet tossed to the ground. I love it.
Jesus, man. And then for me, I either hit peak backpack or bottom of the barrel backpack. I believe it was my freshman year of high school. I had a red Jansport backpack from 8th grade that was still in pretty decent shape. But this would have been probably 2004. I had my Van Halen phase. So with a black Sharpie, I wrote the Van Halen logo on the back of my backpack in Sharpie.
Oh my
and
God.
The only reason this happened is because we found Van Halen Live Without a Net in the discount clearance bin at Fry's. It was a DVD concert. And my dad always loved just DVD concerts of anybody. So whatever, he always had Bruce, always had Pink Floyd and stuff. And he was like, oh, Van Halen, haven't listened to him in a while. He picked that up. And there is like a 15-minute guitar solo of Eddie Van Halen alone on stage that then finally leads into Eruption that I watched incessantly when I was still trying to learn guitar at this point in 8th grade. Like, had a huge effect on me. And this was Sammy Hagar at the time. I think this was right around 5150, I think, when it came out. So for whatever reason, we got this DVD at the right time when I was learning guitar, and Eddie Van Halen just seemed like a god to me because his hands were so fast. And before I actually knew anything about music, I'm like, I have to put this logo on my backpack. And you know me, I went to a predominantly Black and Hispanic school where Van Halen not as popular in said community. So nobody even knew what the hell this logo was on my backpack. But I had to have it there. And that was how I started my freshman year of high school, was with Van Halen. How many years after they were relevant?
I did not know you had a Van Halen phase.
It was short-lived. It was only about a year, but I had it. Well,
did you ever name like a goldfish Cabo Wabo at all?
I did not, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
But
sure.
Unfortunately for us bringing up your association with Van Halen, one of the musical acts I truly detest, I can only award you 1 point for this round. Mitch, for taking us on a real journey. A lot of ups and downs with football for all of us. I mean, So a lot of positives, a lot of negatives, but it was a necessity, so you get 3. But then I have to circle back to Brian for surprising us all with a delightful visit from our friend Kevin out of nowhere. He's going to get a bonus point. So,
woo! Yeah.
So 2 points there. And then due to having 2 Uber stare downs, all that's left for us, I believe, is Mitch's number 2 and 1. So
Correct.
Mitch, let's have your second choice.
Sure. Yeah. So my number 2 is this is a back to school item for when you're a bit older, when you're in college. And that is a Wisconsin State fake ID that you buy for $45 in Canada.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so you go to downtown Toronto, as they say there. Toronto. You go to Yonge Street and you get north of College Avenue, wink, wink, but that's actually true. And there's a bunch of like tattoo parlors, head shops, like those kind of things. And I believe it was Yonge Street Tattoos where I went, or it was like Incorporated Tattoos, aka Ink Tattoos. You go in and it's like a gift shop tattoo kind of thing, and they're souvenir IDs, they call them. But you go up these stairs, you go up to the second floor, and you come to like literally an octagon foyer. And there's like 6 doors, and in one of those doors you're very confused and you're a little scared because there's no signs, there's nothing on the walls, and you look and there's just 2 guys in a simple office with nothing on the walls, just a desk and a computer and a printer, and they say, "Oh, you looking for an ID? Yeah, come on in, buddy. Yeah, don't be scared." And then you look back at your friend Brad Berry and you say, this is what we're going to do? And you're like, yeah, this is what we're going to do.
Holy shit.
And then you sit down, you get your picture taken. You choose where you're from. I chose Madison, Wisconsin, because I think I look like I'm a boy who could be from Madison, Wisconsin. I remember I looked it up ahead of time too on my phone. So I was from Redwood Lane. Just southwest of the campus, not too bad, about 10 minutes away. And then you pay your $45 Canadian, so it was even cheaper American. And then they print it out, and away you go. You're from Wisconsin, and it scans at all bars and restaurants and other authority figures. Did you ever have any close calls with this ID?
Or was it 100% success rate?
No, it was always 100% success. Never had a single issue with it. I only had to actually take it out. I had one of those, like plastic ID sleeves in my wallet. Mm-hmm. I only had to take it out of the sleeve once. And this was much cheaper. This is sophomore year when I got this. My freshman year, I think I spent like $150 or something on an ID that I got from a guy that was traveling and was in one of the dorms at DePaul and just like made $200 in a weekend kind of thing. But I lost that one during a especially rowdy night out early sophomore year. But with that one though, I was once at this is the closest time I was ever trapped in the fake ID hole. But thankfully, my sports knowledge saved me here. An attendant at a liquor store in St. Paul, Minnesota, looked at my ID. My first ID, I was from Massachusetts. I was from Boston. And he looked at me, looked at the ID, and he's like, You're from Massachusetts? And I was like, well, no, my parents recently moved there. I didn't like grow up there. I go to the U, and I'm actually I grew up in Minnesota mainly. He's like, oh, and he's like, all right, then what street is Fenway on? And this guy grew up in Boston and had like a slight Boston accent and just had lived in Minnesota, I'm assuming, for a couple of years, whatever, or decades or something. And thank God, this is like 2006 or whatever, just after, the Red Sox broke their curse, so everyone knew a lot more about them. And I was like, fucking Yawkey Way, of course. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. Gave me the ID back as I looked like I was 13 buying, a 24-pack of beer and like 2 handles of vodka or something, something obviously what an underager would purchase.
The amount of
I love that story.
The amount of crimes Mitch is alluded to on this podcast.
but you know what though? When you go to Canada, it actually wasn't that sketchy. It was actually, it was a pretty easy little operation. And then of course, going to college in Chicago, it came in handy. Getting me into places to hang out with friends all through college. So
it's easier to commit forgery on an international scale than it is to do it domestically. Got
exactly.
It.
Cool.
And,
that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing wrong all these years.
All this time. Yep.
And when I was trying to find back this place where I went using both Google Street View and the internet, found out that the Toronto authorities cracked down on these quote unquote souvenir ID shops. So I don't think it's as possible anymore. But man, the good old days of 2007 or 6, whatever it was. Woo!
Well, I am a man who values law and order. Some have called me by my new nickname, the Law and Order President. So I can't give you a full 3 points, but I also can't just give you 1 point because you brought up my beloved mid-2000s Red Sox with David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez and Pedro Martinez back when I used to watch baseball. So Mitch, you're getting 2 points for your number 2. And now you have an addendum?
Well, I was going to say I like Law and Order, but I prefer SVU myself.
You're the SVU president. I'm the Law and Order president.
Correct. Yes. Exactly.
Brian is the NCIS president. This is what all our friends call us. Everybody knows that.
Absolutely.
All right. So Mitch, it's your number 1. Let's hear it.
Yes. So my number 1 is something that's specific to my own high school experience. I went to an all-male Catholic military college prep high school called St. Thomas Academy. It's in Mendota Heights, Minnesota. And so part of this whole experience was you wore a military uniform every day to school. Gray wool pants, black stripe, light blue button-up shirt. You've got your name tag on there, your military rank on your epaulets, and then a black tie as well. A belt. You had to keep your belt buckle shiny. And then, of course, black dress shoes. You also had to keep shiny. You were always subject to a spot inspection if any military teacher saw you and might think they could slap you with a demerit. And so my sophomore year, I invested. I found these shoes in a store somewhere in St. Paul. I don't remember what store it was, but it was an absolute godsend. And so therefore, my number 1 item on my top 5 back to school list is a pair of black patent leather shoes. And these saved my ass because I never had to shine my shoes again. Who here has shined a pair of shoes before? Anyone?
No, never.
No.
Okay. All right. So what it takes is you're doing layers and layers of the shoe polish, and then you're getting water or spit. You're shining it, more layers. If you do it properly, as we were taught freshman year, it takes a solid 40 minutes to get a nice shine on. Now, it doesn't last that long, so you've got to do that on a regular basis. That's a lot of time, and it's annoying. And you always have to be worried about it. Patent leather, though, remains shiny at all moments. It's incredible. You can always look down and see your face in them. the military teachers could never slap me with a demerit. Sergeant Major McDowell, his reign of terror was over. Thank you very much. I did respect him. Sergeant Gifford no longer sneaking up behind me and handing me a slip with -2, which would take me down at 1 percentage point in my military class. First Sergeant Hansen, no longer threatening to stab us. Yes, he did that. He was a messed up man, had a lot of demons from Vietnam.
God.
He couldn't slap me with demerits anymore. And then also, beyond this, beyond saving me work and time, when you have a pair of shoes on that has incredible shine, you carry yourself a little straighter. You know, like your spine's a little higher, a little more erect. You have more respect for yourself. You know?
Built yourself from the ground up.
Exactly, by purchasing these shoes at a store. And then in the future, they came in really handy because, not to brag, but this pair of shoes with a lot of personality, little curve that likes to listen, went to 3 proms senior year. And so instead of renting a tuxedo over and over again, I just bought one. And guess what? I already had tuxedo shoes because these black patent leather dress shoes. So those came in handy. I danced the night away, got real sweaty for 3 different high schools, end of the year celebration.
Do you still have these shoes?
I don't, because I tossed out most of the things that reminded me of high school after high school, and they were always just like a little bit small as well. And so I left them behind and they got, I think, donated or something like that.
And now some other high school student is hopefully having as much success with those shoes as you did.
Hopefully. What I still do have are my the Class A dress military coat with all my medals on it. It's like just about 10 feet from me here in my room, and my hat that I used to wear. So
that your lady makes you wear on special nights.
Yes. Yep.
What I want to see is a Pixar movie about Mitch's shoes and the life that they lead after Mitch donates them, and then they go off and bring other fine young men up and instill them with self-confidence.
I believe it's already been made. It's called Adam Sandler's The Cobbler.
Oh, yeah.
Oh dear.
Go see it.
So yeah, and my military coat. My shoes were always a little small, but my coat. I remember as a freshman, there was one of the St. Thomas moms that was helping us to purchase uniforms. Told my mom and I that I would grow into this coat, and so I should get like an XL or an XXL. And so forever during my entire high school career, my military dress A coat never fit me. It always swam on my shoulders. So I always felt like a silly child in it. So I think, it never, like, whenever I put the coat on, I felt worse. But, just regular pants, shirt with those shine shoes. Watch out, world. Here I come.
Oh my. Well, that was a beautiful story.
Thank you.
And it's worthy of 3 points. But since I'm the teacher and you are students, and I pretty much get to do whatever I want, and you are millennials who are coddled, and everybody gets a trophy, you get 2 points, so the game is tied. Everybody's a winner. You can come pick up your participation trophies as soon as we're done recording.
Can you just email me a PDF of the certificate? Thank you very much. That's all I want.
All right, that's it. The bell has rung. Class dismissed. That means it's time for my Fast Five, which is going to be full of a lot of words.
As they normally are. I mean,
strap in. This is the top 5 unmade sequels as described by Variety magazine. For those of you unfamiliar with Variety, is a trade paper in Hollywood famous for its headlinees or slangwage, which incorporates various slang and abbreviations to cram as much information into the headlines as possible. This led to the creation of such well-known terms as showbiz. The most famous example came from a story in 1935, which detailed how audiences from rural areas were unsatisfied by the portrayals of rural life in Hollywood films. The headline read, "Stick Snicks Hick Picks." So, here are 5 unmade sequels to famous film franchises that Variety had summarized, but sadly never had the chance to print. Number 5, Star Wars Episode Whatever. Luke Skywalker has retired to live the quiet life on Tatooine, where he spends most of the time in his kitchen trying to replicate recipes from his favorite TV program, The Great British Bake Off. Imperial espionage units track him down and are able to steal his lightsaber. Ever resourceful, Skywalker uses the Force to propel his fresh pastries into their approaching TIE fighters to win the day. Or, as Variety put it, Sky Guy's pies fly sky high, spies cry. And number 4, we have the aborted Matt Damon vehicle, the Bourne Redundancy. An unearthed draft of this unmade entry into the Jason Bourne series sees the recently retired secret agent blissfully enjoying solitude while learning to play the saxophone. An international security crisis brings him out of retirement to once again save the day, but his instrument is the only thing to bring him peace of mind, so he can't bring himself to leave it at home. And in the final mission, nefarious terrorists break the saxophone in two. Dejected, Bourne takes up the solitary sport of cornhusking to ease his pain. Or, as Variety put it, forlorn Bourne mourns torn horn with shorn corn. And number 3, The Godfather Part 4. The tepid response to The Godfather Part 3 ensured that Coppola's planned 4th installment would never make it out of development hell. The script focused on the minor character of Michael Corleone's son, Anthony. With the criminal empire in ruins, he has gone straight with a family pasta business, but without the underhanded tactics of his ancestors, he faces financial ruin and cannot support his young daughter's interest in equestrian show jumping. He turns back to a life of crime and enters the black market of counterfeit PlayStation video game consoles. Or, as Variety put it, Corleone crony Tony's macaroni is baloney, sells phony Sonys to buy pony. And number 2, Harry Potter number 8. This unmade entry in the series finds a middle-aged Harry who has grown disillusioned with magic and wants to live a simple Spartan life in the Muggle world and pursue his newfound hobby of writing spec scripts for late 1970s American TV shows.
Is that it? That's great. I love it.
His offspring, Lily, has developed a penchant for raising semi-aquatic mammals. Harry has moved them into a dilapidated house with barely any heat or amenities, and Lily is forbidden to use magic to provide a habitat for her pets. When she breaks the rule, Harry is annoyed, but uses the incident as material for one of his spec episodes. Or, as Variety put it, Potter's daughter makes water hotter for Otter. Harry Cotter uses fodder for Welcome Back Cotter.
Holy shit. Wow.
And then we have number 1. This is a James Bond flick. All right?
All right. We're ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bond attends an international cooking festival and falls in love with the beautiful Canadian chef who wins for her delectable duck confit. He whisks her away to his home in the Scottish Highlands, where her driving skills are called into question. When the sinister Spectre agents arrive at Skyfall to attack Bond, his lady love tries to make escape in an all-terrain vehicle, only to get caught in the mud and run over Bond's prize stag. However, true love wins the day, and the notorious womanizer settles down with his new companion. Or, as Variety put it, Bond plucks Canuck for duck, Canuck sucks with truck, hits Buck and Muck, bad luck, but together they are stuck because she's a real good... cook. And that's this week's edition of Uber Cinco. From UBK Towers in Berwyn is
Brian Ernst.
And from the Southport Corridor is
Mitch Brinkman.
And I've been Nathan Hennenfent, and as BizBear always says, slack off now, there's no guarantee you'll have time to slack off later. Auf Wiedersehen and adios.
You've just listened to Uber Cinco, a production of UBK Studios. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your fine podcasts from.
If you like what you hear and want to support the show, please visit our Patreon site at patreon.com/UBK Studios. Every little bit helps us keep the lights on and the bill collectors at bay.
Keep tabs on us on all the social media at UBK Studios, and most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see that we really are just a bunch of good Midwestern boys.